Hello and welcome to RV Advisors All Things RV Podcast. I am your host, Kathy Conrad. I've been enjoying the RV lifestyle for 5 years and I love helping new RVers realize their RV dreams. This podcast is about RV education, resources, adventures, and the amazing people who love RVing. It is also about discovering the freedom RVers experience, the connection with nature we are all so grateful for, and how RVing enriches our lives. On this podcast, you can expect us to talk about all things RV, including the good stuff, the challenging stuff, and everything in between. So, join us weekly and enjoy the lineup of guests we have in store for you. Hey friend, and welcome back to All Things RV Podcast. I cannot believe it is September already. Fall camping is right around the corner. That's my favorite time of year to camp. I love all the fall colors and the cooler temperatures and less bugs. It's great. So today, actually, I wanted to talk about 8 gadgets that you really need before hitting the road. They're important. I've got 5 different categories. I'm going to go over a little bit of travel safety, electrical management of your rig, water management, sewer management, and leveling and stability. So those are the 5 categories I want to chat high level about. I have an 18-page document that if you are interested in digging into a little deeper on more about these different aspects and also why they are so important, then please just shoot me an email at kathy@rvadvisors.net, and that's Kathy with a C. And I'll put my email address, as always, down in the show notes. But if you shoot me an email, I'll send you this 18-page guide, this document that I put together that talks about why these things are important and how they work, and also provides you with links for each of these gadgets so that you have some idea, how much they cost. Don't forget to shoot me an email and I'm happy to send you this. It will explain things at a deeper level, provide you with lots of pictures and all that sort of thing. So first of all, in terms of safety, this is really specific to tire safety on the road. And if you have a drivable RV, you might have a built-in tire pressure monitoring system, which is great. We have one, of course, built in on our truck, but not on our trailer. So we have a TST507 tire pressure monitoring system. There's other ones out there, but I'm, giving you what we have and that I've been happy with. And that's the one that we've been using for several years. So what a TPMS system does is it monitors live and via Bluetooth your tire pressure and your tire temperature. Both are important factors as you're rolling down the road, knowing whether or not any issues are starting to come up. Plus, you're not having then to manually check the pressure on all of your tires with a little handheld one. So it serves a couple different purposes. But it's great because, if you hit a road hazard and it blows a tire, there's not much you can do about that prevention-wise if you can't avoid it on the road. But if your tire's going bad, maybe you have a slow leak or you've got the temperature starts really rising, which can be a sign that your bearings are going bad, this will do it. And it gives you enough time to hopefully pull over somewhere safely before something bigger and more catastrophic happens. If you have a blowout, there's always risk that the underneath side of your rig is damaged. So it's really something to try to avoid with a tire pressure monitoring system. So that's that. So there's more in here about traveling and why tire pressure is important. So it goes into a much deeper level in this document. The other thing is electrical management. So you really want to protect the electrical system in your rig and also your appliances. When you plug in at a pedestal, you don't really know for certain that it's functioning properly and a surge protector or electrical management system can diagnose that for you. And that way you can check the pedestal before you plug in. The basic differences between a surge protector and an EMS system is that the surge protector is designed primarily to protect your RV from voltage spikes and surges in the electrical supply. But the EMS system does that, and it also has additional features like voltage monitoring, load shedding, protection against low and high voltage situations. So much more comprehensive and really not that much more expensive. So currently we have a surge protector, but at some point I'm probably going to upgrade to an EMS system. The other thing that is important to protect is your plumbing system. If you're hooking up to city water, please use a water pressure regulator. You attach it to the faucet, set it at the specifications for your rig to protect your plumbing from having overly high pressure running through the plumbing lines, which can end up, with a broken fitting and water damage to your rig. So it's pretty important. I like using our freshwater tank because we're gone any length of time. I shut the water pump off. That way the lines are not continually pressurized. Like when you're hooked to city water, I recommend if you're going to be gone for any length of time, go around the side of your rig and turn off the water so that nothing happens while you're gone. And then you have this constant pressure of water. If you have a broken fitting or pipe or something, it's going to flood your rig. To me, it's just easier since we have a large capacity freshwater tank. I just turn the pump off when we leave, turn the hot water heater off, and I don't have to worry about anything more than what's already in the lines getting into the rig if there was a breach in the plumbing. The other thing you're going to need and related to water management is a potable water hose. And that needs to be kept completely separate from all your sewer stuff. So your freshwater hose, it's important to keep it clean, drain it out, keep it in a container by itself or whatever, but that's really important. And then also, because you never know what the quality of the water is at a campground or RV park, we always use water filters. Now, some rigs like drivables or maybe higher end fifth wheels may come with a 3-stage filtering system, which is great. If you don't have that, then we use actually a combination of things, and I have a couple different things on this document here. One is a Clear 2O. It's the bright green one, very distinguishable when you go shopping for it. There's a pre-filter that filters out the heavy stuff to 20 microns, and then there's a second part of it that filters down to 1 micron, and that's a solid carbon filter. There's the blue ones, and we throw another one of those on just for the heck of it, and those are carbon granules, so they do not filter the water to the level of detail that the solid carbon ones do. So we filter the water going into our tank, and then we also have a Berkey, so any water we're consuming, we're drinking, run that through the Berkey, which is a double solid carbon filters. And then there's a brass L that if you're hooking to city water, it's a good idea to have one of those. It's a little less stress on your connection to your trailer. Recommend one of those, the brass L. And then if you are going to be using your freshwater tank, you'll need one of those tank fillers with a shutoff valve that hooks to the end of your hose or onto your last filter going in to fill your water tank. And then on to sewer management. If you have a sewer clean out connection on your trailer, which we do, we have a separate hose for that. And that is strictly for hooking up to the trailer. You turn it on when you're emptying your tank, and these little sprayers come on in your tank and rinse your black tank. So we use a hose that's specific for that. So in addition to the sewer washout hose that's strictly for that, you'll need sewer hoses or a sewer hose kit, which are the accordion type hoses that hook to the fittings on your trailer where your emptying valves are for your tanks. And you'll also need an L connector that goes from the collapsible hose to the into the sewer and a gadget that fits into that. So there's a whole kit. And depending on how many, we have 2 separate drains on our rig. One is for the gray tank in the back for the kitchen, and then we have another valve at the front that's for the bathroom gray tank and the black tank. So we have to have a Y that connects those 2 into the one that goes into the sewer. So if you have 2 outlets, that's something you might want to consider as well. And then you never know what the distance is going to be between where you hook up to your trailer, the sewer hose, and where the sewer inlet is for the campsite. So sometimes they're all towards the back, sometimes they're not. Like right now, where we are, the sewer hookup is towards the front of the site, the electrical and the water is at the back. So we need an extra long hose. So it's not a bad idea to have an extra hose so that if there's a distance between the 2, you can make it, So we always carry an extra hose. The other thing, it's called a sidewinder, and there's different types of these, and sometimes people make their own sort of thing. And what it does is it supports the sewer hose when it comes from your trailer on its journey to where you connect it into the ground. You want a gradual downslope. You don't want it going down and up and down and up and down and up. You want the hose straight and at an angle so that everything drains out properly. If there's a big slack in it and it's hanging towards the ground, you're going to get stuff accumulating there, and it could get stinky. So a sidewinder is important, and it makes that slant that you need to keep everything moving down the hose and directly into the sewer. And of course, never handle your sewer hoses and all that sort of thing without gloves. So whether you get nitrile exam gloves or latex or whatever, you want some disposable gloves that you can put on and dispose of after you've been handling your sewer hoses. That's pretty important. Nobody wants to touch that stuff. So gloves. And then we keep a bleach resistant sprayer bottle, and we have some bleach water in it. And before we ever hook up our fresh hose to the faucet, and usually we have a Y with us also because you're hooking up a couple different things, we spray it out, spray the inside of the faucet and everything out with bleach water, just because you never know. I've seen pictures of sewer hoses on picnic tables and stuff like that. You just never know what people are going to do, right? So you always want to have things sanitized. So sanitize the faucet before you hook up your fresh hose. It's just not a bad idea, and it only takes a second. So what we do is we have a dedicated container that is just for all the sewer hoses and the fittings and all that sort of thing. The freshwater stuff, like the water pressure regulator, the freshwater hose, that stuff goes in a separate container. You never want to mix those 2 up. It's just a bad idea. So that's for sewer management. More details, in this document. And then as far as leveling and stability, if you are not fortunate enough to have auto leveling, which we do not have, auto leveling, that's like one day I'll have it. It just makes things so much easier. It is one more thing to go wrong, but it also makes your life easier. You're going to need something that will show you whether or not if your rig is out of level from side to side and front to back. So there's a couple different things you can use for that. When we started out, I used a construction level, and to check from side to side, I'd put it on the back bumper, and then we use the Anderson levelers to raise the side that is too low. They have kind of an arc-shaped thing that starts out thin and gets thicker. So as long as you're not out of level more than the highest point on that, it will work great. Otherwise, you might need to add some additional height with a 2x6 or something like that underneath it. They also come with rubber pads to keep them from sliding around, which, trust me, I learned this the hard way. In the snow, you need the rubber pads. In certain types of rock or gravel, you need it, and silty sand. Those are super handy to have, and they come with chocks that work with them. They come in a bag. The bag is not great quality, but they'll replace it. I've had mine tear twice. I send them a picture and they send me a new bag. So that's what you need to actually raise the side that is low. So you can use the construction level on the bumper and then on the side when you go to level front to back. Did that for a long time, but I'll tell you what, I got tired of that. And I invested in a Level Mate Pro, and it's, you mount it, there's a process to mount it, and involving your slides and everything to make sure that when it's mounted on the inside of your trailer, we have ours mounted towards the front. Some people put them in their pass-through. There's a process that you go through to calibrate that. Then you download the app and you connect to it. You turn it on when you're getting ready to, figure out if you're level or not. So usually when we arrive somewhere, I turn it on so that when we get to our campsite, it's on and I can start eyeballing, how we're doing level wise as we're backing in. It works really well. So the app on your phone is like, I have it set so it looks like you're looking down at the top of the trailer, so you can see, it'll tell you, it'll say on the driver's side that it needs to come up 3 inches, or it just makes it super easy to tell where you're at. So those combined with the Anderson levelers, if you don't have automatic leveling, are a great couple of tools to use. I'm so glad I invested in the Level Mate Pro. They're not that expensive, a little over $100, and it really makes your life a whole lot easier. So the other thing you're going to definitely need are wheel chocks, right? You don't want your rig rolling around. Before you unhook from your truck, and once you are level side to side, you need to chock the wheels, the front and the back, to make sure it doesn't move. So being level is really important before you deploy your slides, and it's also important for your fridge to function properly. So really important. So you get level side to side, maybe using the Anderson levelers if you need to, chock the wheels. And then if you have stabilizers, which are not intended for leveling, please, I've seen people do that. I've seen them break their stabilizers trying to level their trailer with those. That's not what they're intended for, okay? So if you have stabilizers, our trailer has a really high ground clearance. So sometimes we need to bring the ground a little closer up to the stabilizers. You don't want them, extended all the way out. You really want to keep them at around a 45-degree angle. So we'll use those Lynx levelers. Those are those orange Lego looking things. We'll put them underneath the stabilizers so that we bring the ground up, so that the stabilizers are at the best angle to provide the best stability without, extending them too far. And sometimes we need those for under the tongue jack, but my preference, because it's a heavy part of the trailer, is to use wood blocks like a 2x6 and a 4x4 block or 6x6. Some people make theirs. I've seen people stack, 2x6s and screw them together and have a rope handle on them. There's lots of different ways to do that. And also Anderson makes jack blocks that are magnetic as well. So those, I see a lot more people with fifth wheels using those. They're super heavy duty blocks, kind of the same purpose you would put under your landing gear on a fifth wheel. And then finally, once you're level side to side and you're all chalked, I also like to use those X-Chalk wheel stabilizers. Those go between your tires. If you have a double axle, you use these to create even a little more stability on your rig when you're walking around inside. It's not moving quite as much. So I like those as well. So that's kind of the gist of the leveling. And then once you're unhitched, you're level front to back, but you're not going to deploy your jacks, until you're completely level side to side and front to back. But again, that Level Mate Pro will show you how far up or down you need to put your tongue jack to be completely level. So very handy, one of my favorite gadgets, my Level Mate Pro. So I hope you found this helpful, and if you want, this 18-page document really goes into a lot more detail about the management of each of those and what and why, what you need and why, and also lots of pictures and links to order these things. I don't have an Amazon shop yet, so I don't get anything out of it at this point, but it's just helpful to know exactly where to go to get these things. So anyway, shoot me an email in the notes down below, Kathy with a C at rvadvisors.net, if you would like to have a free copy of this 18-page document. And I appreciate you joining us today, and we will see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in today to RV Advisors All Things RV Podcast. Please join us again next week for more RV education, resources, adventures, and interesting people. Until then, wishing you amazing adventures, safe travels, and I hope to see you on the road.